run that one back. Shout out to Neil Tuzad for the topic of discussion tonight. What has been done has never been done. Never have we had a Southsider or a Sureño to come on here and speak against that double S. So shout out to him for the topic of the conversation tonight. Major shout out to Neil Tazar, my player partner, Spirit Wonder. What up? Smokey Show, the Smokey Show. What is the deal, my kin folks? We're gonna run a little content tonight. Being that this is a rarity, right? Being that this is something that doesn't usually occur, it's a phenomenon. You know what I'm talking about? Phenomenon of sorts. We're gonna run some content on it. This has never been done. Yo, Abdullah, what's the deal? Peace and blessings to you and yours, man. Much love and respect, man. Thank everybody for tuning in on your player partner, man. It's greatly appreciated. If y'all haven't seen the movie Imperial Dreams About My Life, please go check it out. It's viewing on several different streaming services. God damn, every time I get in my mojo, like, God damn. Forgive me, y'all, please. I got you. We're gonna vibe out a little bit. Get that amazing, powerful energy going. Meditation is key to a lot of profound things. Meditate. I just got back into my meditate. I put on some very, very, very relaxing music. I don't meditate to this. I put on some very relaxing music and I meditate. I'm conscious of my breathing. I am conscious of everything that's going on in my realm of existence, but I focus not on anything at all. Everything exists, but I don't acknowledge any particular thing. So I try to be present in a moment, but not focusing on the wind blowing or the AC, the feel of the AC or certain aromas and so on and so forth. You want to be conscious of all things without giving all of your attention to one particular thing. Hold on 1 minute. Let me grab my charger, man, because we're going to get into some content. Listen to the song real quick. Hey, come on. Yeah, baby. Here we go again. Here we go again. Here we go, goddamn, here we go again. Here we go on a bitch nigga ass. Here we go on a bitch nigga ass. Here we go on a bitch nigga ass. Here we go again. Here we go again. Here we go again. Here we go again. Hold on. Let's get ready for the show for the night, cuz. Black power to the people. Fuck around and make me start crip walking, cuz. Here we go again. Here we go again. Back on a bitch nigga ass. Back on a bitch nigga ass. Back on a bitch nigga ass. Let's get those vibrations going, cuz. Power to the people. Man, we alive. As far as I know, most of us have good health, a sound mind. You can get up and do as you please, when you please. You don't got nobody telling you what you can do, why you can't do it, when you can't do it, man. Fuck all that. Scratch that. By the grace of God, homie, we all free and we all present in this moment. Let's get into the content. Okay, so as many of you know, a few days ago, a Southsider, an active Southsider at the age of about pushing 50, that's how old he is, right? You know, Kim folks pushing 50. He had did some content a while ago. Hold on, I probably want to use these Shane tools, my lead tool, babies. You feel me? Put these bad boys on. Let me see. All right, here we go. Mic check. So, not that long ago, recently, I did some content about a black Southsider who took umbrage with some of the things that I was saying. So he decided to make a video to refute and to rebuttal. The reason why I made the content that I made about this sapsucker motherfucker is because he said some very disparaging, disrespectful things to my race, and I was partially offended, right? So I did a slew of videos at him. So I did a little research and did a little digging, did my little investigations and all this. And this dude had did some content a while back to where he's accusing the Sureño, the Sioux, the double S, of engaging in discriminatory practices against black Southsiders. That's it. That's not it. But wait, there's more. Ain't that what Cuz from Scary Movie say? But he also accused the double S of being jealous of the black members who are a part of their organization. So a lot of people just say, oh man, he never said that. That ain't where to say it. You know what I mean? So we're going to play exactly what he said because I have made a statement questioning that, right? And he said, I never said that. I said that about black fools who feel like they lost a real one and they're jealous. And nah, bucko. That's not what you said. So I want to open this up and let's have some dialogue. You know what I mean? Let me pose the question. Is it true? Does it have any merits? Does it have any legitimacy to the accusations that he is accusing against the double S, the Sureños, the South Side? Is it true? Are Sureños jealous of not just black Southsiders, but black people as a whole? What's your opinion? Drop it in the comment. If anybody want to come in the box, let me know. I can drop the thinane and the tata. You feel me? You can come into the box and we can have some meaningful dialogue. But I want to hear from you. I want to hear from you all. What do you feel about Neil Tazad making these accusations against the double S, saying that the double S is jealous of their black members? Does it have any legitimacy to it? Does he have a valid point? Is he just reaching? Is he just talking out of sheer emotions? Like, what you think? If you don't believe that is true, what I'm saying, how about I drop the content? You know, I'm notorious for dropping the content. At Themos 41 said, don't get mad now. You picked up the double S. Wait until they give you up like they did that Norteño brother. I don't necessarily see the double S giving up on Neil to Zod. I don't see them giving up on Zod because Zod is a professional ass kisser. Zod is well aware of the dynamics surrounding the organization that he has joined, right? And he's content with the mistreatment and the discrimination that he has subjected himself to. He's quite okay with it because he feels like he's going to utilize blind loyalty to keep him in compliance with the mandations and the requirements of that mighty double S. So he don't mind being treated in the fashion of a second-class citizen long as he get a certain level of protection and recognition from that mighty double S. That's what it is with Zod. The Smokey Show say, damn, bro, I had no idea you was the one that movie was based on. Yeah, that's my life, baby. What you mean? You heard me? I'm Bobby Yeye Jones. For those of you who don't know, my name is Bobby Yeye Jones, and I am an author. I am what they call, this name they gave me in the projects, a gangster activist, a gangster advocate. That's the name that they gave me in the projects. A few of my homegirls, I had found myself in a situation to where I couldn't be as diplomatic as I would have liked to. I couldn't be as diplomatic as I would have preferred to be. So I had to show a dude, just because you see me in suits, because I was wearing suits at the time, going to city council meetings, I'm going to the meetings that they were having, town hall meetings at the mayor's office. I'm meeting with assemblyman, different individuals in political positions and whatnot. I'm meeting with these individuals and I'm talking about how can we properly allocate the necessary resources to destitute communities, Black and Latinos. I have fought for the advancement of both of them. You feel what I'm saying? But a gentleman got at me on some gangster shit, as if I wasn't familiar with the ways of a gangster. You know what I mean? It's like you got a ninja or a samurai that has turned his life around in pursuit of something that's more meaningful. And then you got these young jokers that come, or you got these people who are inebriated off these different alcoholic beverages and whatnot, and they come and they want to poke the bear, and you giving them peace. Oh no, brother, it ain't like that. And being that you're soft-spoken and you're using sesquipedalian or collegiate words, individuals associate that with a sense of weakness and have to show a motherfucker, cuz I'm not with that bullshit. I done gave you peace. I done gave you empathy. I done gave you understanding. So let me give you the gangster shit, because the more intelligent, more pragmatic side of me, the more logical and reasonable thinking me, it didn't resonate with you. You think I'm a sucker because I'm trying to avoid conflict with you. So we got into some gangster shit. And being that I was a community activist and an advocate of survivors of violent crimes and so on and so forth, they gave me the name, the homegirls gave me the name, the gangster activist. But I don't want to stray too far away from the topic. I'm gonna read a few more of these things. But yeah, the movie Imperial Dreams is totally about me. I am Bobby A. Jones. I'm the inspiration of the film. I'm a story consultant. I am a co-producer. I'm a few things on the film. We got some things cooking up out here in Las Vegas. My passion is for being in the film industry and being in a position to tell meaningful tales that individuals can see and be motivated by. You'll be amazed at how many people that I done had just conversations with, just cordial conversation. And I say, hey man, check out this movie about my life called Imperial Dreams. And dudes be like, man, I love that movie. Man, I was taken from my mama. I was taken from my daddy. Or me and my son was homeless. Or man, I watched that movie and it made me aspire to do this. Blase. You feel what I'm saying? That is the type of content. That is the type of media that we want to put out there, not only to just Black people, but anybody that's feeling the pains and the challenges of poverty. How do we adequately, effectively affect people who are overlooked and misrepresented? So that's my goal. I know I get on here and I talk a certain type of way and all this and all that, man. I am who I am, and who I'm not, I can never be, so on and so forth. But getting back to the content, man. Hey, it's so many different layers to me, man. Just witness my growth, man, and be on this path with me, man. It's something that y'all should check out called the hero's journey or the warrior path, right? And each of us have to deny the calling, or each of us have to embark upon our own individual journey. But it's a call of action. And what that call of action is looking at your environment or looking within and saying, you know what? What's currently occurring isn't right. And I want to change this. I want to change my community. I want to change my environment. I want to change myself. I want to strengthen my family. That's the call of action. Once you accept the call of action, when you embark on your journey to make sure that you're really about this commitment to self-growth and improvement, it's going to be challenges. Once you overcome the challenges, the universe is going to send you mentors, because down the streets, it's going to be some enemies that's going to try to deter you from completing your mission. So once you get these mentors and these advisors, now you're ready for the next part of it, which is the negative individuals that's going to try to challenge you, that's going to try to tempt you, that's going to try to use your past against you to get you to go back to being the person that you were, right? Once you go through that, it's a few more steps. But then you get to a place to where you have to kill your old self. That old version of yourself, you have to kill that individual. My brother called it what they call it in the 48 laws of power. You have to reinvent yourself. After you reinvent yourself, now you're halfway there. At the completion of the hero's journey, you go back to the same spot, your community, your family, or wherever you was at when you answered the call to action, but now you have an elixir. Now you have something that can heal the inflicted people. Now you can have something that can heal the deaf, dumb, and blind. Same thing that went on with Jesus. You know, it's a story. It's something out there. Signs and symbols for the conscious minds are certain things that I can't just blatantly speak about, right? But if you get it, you get it. It's some literature out there that talks about the 18 lost years of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ answered the call of the adventure, the hero's journey. And when he went out traveling and all that, did he not come back and heal the lame? Did he not come back and give sight to the blind? Did he not have an elixir that said, listen, homie, I know the way. I got the solution to all this madness that's going on. But even when you do that and you become a better version of yourself, does that mean that you're going to stop encountering temptation, hardships, and challenges? Hell no. You're just better suited to get through it. Like the Christians say, now you got a stronger armor of Christ. I don't subscribe to that. I'm just giving you an analogy and an example. But we about to get into some content. Hold on. See, they hated me when I used to go into the meetings, man. You know, and I fixed my tie and all that, have my hair done and all that, and I start spitting that shit that they be like, damn, who the fuck is this little nigga? Then I take a sip of my water like a player. You know, most of the time I got some rings or a peaking ring on. Sip that water, then I get back on it. Yeah, and I made a lot of enemies just by going into these, like Yeshua, like Jesus did when he went into the temples and kicked over the motherfucking tables. Sometimes we have to go into these temples and to these false synagogues and all that and kick over the motherfucking tables because of all the wickedness that's going on. Sometimes we got to go into these destitute communities and kick over the motherfucking tables and reestablish orders in our communities. The brother Zod has some excellent points. And I want to thank that dude, Neil Tazad, because now he got me back on a tip that I should have been on and I should not have deviated away from. Because the way that he refers to our people, the things that he associates with our people, but he tried to be a reflection of our people, is sickening, right? So instead of me being on here and arguing and bickering and fighting with a person that looks like me, that's going through and surviving the same hardships as me, like, no, fuck that, homie. Let's get in these type of positions. Let's talk about how we can use our platform to benefit women, children, and our brethren in these destitute communities that's trying to figure shit out. A lot of us is capable of changing. Why? A lot of us have seen homies come up out of church or come up out of prison and say, you know what, man, I'm just trying to change, man. I'm trying to get a job. I want to do this, that, and third, blase. Bow! He get banged up, or he gets stuck, or he get caught up on some shit. So change, coming from the communities that we come from, change is spooky and it scare a lot of us because change requires you to enter into a position of being vulnerable. If you can't be vulnerable, then you ain't ready for change. If you want to find love, if you want to find true love, if you want to find a love that sustains you and strengthens you, you got to be vulnerable. You can't go into this relationship / partnership because every relationship should be looked at as a partnership. How can I benefit from you? And how could you benefit from me? We shouldn't enter into a relationship just because I'm handsome and you fine with a nice ass. No. What is the end game? How can I benefit from you and how could you benefit from me? What is our goals? Getting a house within 5 years? Okay, for sure. We can work on that. Starting our own business within the next 3 years? Okay, for sure. We can work on that. Better understanding and finding better ways to communicate with one another to where every time we have an intellectual conversation, it's like therapy for me and it's like therapy for you. Me learning your triggers, you learning my triggers. That's how a partnership should be. That's how a relationship should be. If you're going to go into business with somebody, right, and they want you to invest, it's just in a relationship, you invest in one of the most precious things that a person can invest, time. You can get money back. A broken heart eventually heals, but wasted time you cannot recover. So you invest in time in this person. So you got to be sure when you're investing the most precious thing that you have is this person the one. Because if you was investing some money, you want to know, or just on some street shit, if you was gonna hit a motherfucker with some work, you want to know that this nigga can move that work, right? You want to know that this nigga can properly stash, secure, and manage that work. It should be the same thing with your time and your mind and your love, your heart, so on and so forth. But I feel like I done deviated over to some other shit. Let's get into the content, cuz. And I want answers, man. You know what y'all feel about this brother Zod making these accusations against the Sioux? I want y'all to hear it because you know what cuz try to do is a lot of confabulating. He tried to do a lot of equivocating, and he does a lot of filibustering. No filibustering, no equivocate, no confabulating. These are cold, hard facts coming out of this guy's mouth. I'm gonna try my best to refrain from calling this dude derogatory terms like bitch and cuzz and saying crip as I dialogue and we dive deeper into the complex mind of this degenerate. That's what I'm gonna call him, a degenerate. I'm gonna call him Larry the Degenerate. Let's get into the content.
Have really any black fools, and when they do, there's always a certain sense of dispel that. At the end of the day, you will run into individuals that don't have no real love for you. They grew up in areas such as his where they don't have really any black fools, and when they do, there's always a certain sense of jealousy and a camaraderie and the hate of certain people. Now, I'm just gonna be honest. When it comes to being a black Southerner, yeah, you're that. At the end of the day, you will run into individuals that don't have no real love for you.
So, in the Double S organization, Zod, who is a melanated, carbonated people, whether he is mestizo, whether he is a fraudulent Panamanian, whether he is African American, whatever he decides to define himself as. He's saying for darker complected people, morenos, negritos, or negroes, what he is saying is that the mass majority of Sureños, especially coming from cities that's predominantly Hispanic, which is almost every city in Southern California. Los Angeles is predominantly Hispanic now. Long Beach is predominantly Hispanic now. Thought my brother from Long Beach was gonna say something. Hawaiian Gardens had predominantly Hispanic. Vernon, Walnut, Southgate, Linwood, these cities are predominantly Hispanic, right? So what this brother is saying is that these cities that are predominantly Hispanic, that is majority Hispanic, that they have a natural tendency to be biased towards Black Sureños. Let's get a little bit deeper into the content. And I appreciate this guy, Zod, for bringing this issue up, addressing this issue, and putting it out there, because it's different from me, Bobby A.A. Jones, saying, you know, listen, homie, 80% of Hispanics are Sureños, in my belief, from my experience, is racist or biased towards Blacks. Peoples can refute that. Oh, no, man, you being biased or you being racist or you probably was traumatized by Hispanics or Sureños. And you know what I mean? It's different from me being a Crip saying it than a person who's actually a part of that organization making these bold claims and these bold allegations and accusations against the mighty Double S. You feel what I'm saying? So let's get back into the content. This is next level right here. This is whistleblowing at its finest.
Grew up in areas such as his where they don't have really any black fools, and when they do, there's always a certain sense of jealousy and a camaraderie and the hate of certain people. Now,
he said there's jealousy and camaraderie. We all know what camaraderie means. Camaraderie means to fellowship, to be in concert with a congregation of like-minded individuals. So he's saying that a lot of these Hispanic gang members, the Sureños, the Double S, a lot of them congregate and they fellowship and have camaraderie through their mutual hate of either Black people or Black Sureños that's rooted in their jealousy of Black Sureños or Black people. I didn't say this. You cannot make this up. This brother Zah said this out of his own mouth. And this is whistleblowing at its finest, because I notice certain organizations, they lack accountability when it comes to their interactions with anybody outside of being who they are, their ethnicity. When it isn't a person that's a part of their organization or their ethnicity, it's a major lack of accountability. But here is Zod being the warrior and the champion for change that he is, even though he can be biased and he's somewhat of a bigot, right? But he's been a champion for change because he's putting it all on a line to call them out on their bigotry and their discriminatory practices against dark skin or negro, moreno, Southsiders. That's next level. Yes, I came on here and I had a few choice words about the dude, before this dude to be that audacious to come on here and speak against the policies and the protocol and the procedures that pertain to race about the Surenos, the South Side, the double S, that's next level. And I feel like that's applaudable. It's very rare for an individual who identifies as being an active Sureno to come and even speak against the double S. So for him to come on his platform and give us these revelations, that's next level. Because a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Surenos say, no, there's no racial tension. There's no racial feelings that we have towards negros. We don't have that. It's not true. It doesn't exist. Or you guys are racist, or you guys feel like this, or it's just business. It's not racial, it's business. Or it's just some hood shit, or it's just some political shit, but it's not rooted in racism. But here you have Zod coming on here, Larry. You have Larry coming on here and dispelling that myth. For those of you that just tuned in, I want you to hear it out of his mouth that he admits that there are racial practices against negros who are a part of the double S. Let's run that back just real quick.
That at the end of the day, you will run into individuals that don't have no real love for you. They grew up in areas such as his where they don't have really any black.
And he's also saying that the Hispanics that grow up in that originated communities that's predominantly Hispanic, right? They don't have no real love for the darker complected or the morenos who are under the double S. This is what he's saying. This is groundbreaking. Never before have we had a whistleblower that's a part of the Sureno organization or that identifies as being an active Southsider to come and give such revelations. This is profound.
Black fools, and when they do, there's always a certain sense of jealousy and a camaraderie in the hate of certain people. Now, I'm just gonna be honest. When it comes to being a black Southerner, yeah, you're up against it. You're always gonna be up against it, just due to the fact of who you are and who you run with. But as far as like us being victims, okay, that's never.
So he made it clear and transparent that the blacks who are Southsiders, they're not victims, but they are going to go through it. The fact of who you are, black, and who you run with, Sue, the Surenos. He's making it clear. He's making it transparent that the majority of the Surenos give their black members a hard time because they are black people in a predominantly Mexican organization. I have never witnessed these type of revelations coming out from a person who's an active member of the Surenos or an active Southsider. This is profound. This is a rarity. This right here, loved ones, me being from Southern California and having a lot of dealings and experiences with the double S, the Surenos, this is a rarity. This is like a diamond in a rough. For this dude to do this, man, this is next level. And if this video really take off and get some traction and the right Surenos see this video, this dude may have to do some explaining. I'm not saying they're going to take violent actions against him, but for him to come out and blatantly admit that there is discriminatory practices against blacks who are Southsiders, this is next level.
happen.
Would you
Like the
agree or
only time
disagree?
you really see a black homie go out like crazy is usually it's the dudes from YA because they got a train of thought like fuck all my enemies and I'm not listening to nobody. Like they're mostly wild, the YA babies, but that's pretty much any homie. But a lot of black homies were with that type of issue, and those are
Oh, that's the
usually the
wrong one.
ones
Hold
that
on.
end up crashing out when they're dealing with individuals such as him. Now, what dude failed to explain is it's individuals such as itself that be sending homies like me on missions because they don't really like us in the first place. Like
Hear him
when
out.
it
Hear him
comes
out.
to
Hear him out. Hear him out.
the cities, Los
Watch
Angeles
this.
have explained is it's individuals such as itself that be sending homies like me on missions because they don't really like us in the first place. Like,
So, in order for an individual to send a Southsider on a mission, they have to be what they call a big homie in an authoritative position, or they have to be a Sureño that has been granted authority over certain yards or certain buildings, but it's a person of influence that's in a position of authority. This dude is putting it all on the line, man, and this is next level. And Larry, we greatly appreciate your transparency. We greatly appreciate your honesty to come on and substantiate what a lot of black content creators have been saying for a long time. That 80% of Sureños, that 80% of the Sul is racist and biased towards black people. Now you can't refute it. You can't refute it. You can't try to dispel it. You can't retract the statement because the statement is made by an active Southsider who, in his and according to him, in his words, is the type of dude that get veneration and recognition everywhere. Let's get back into the content, and we're gonna change gears and get into some other shit.
when it comes to the cities, Los Angeles have always been a certain way. They've always had a lot of black homies, so it's really nothing new. And for the majority of the time, it's real love there. They understand what it is to represent. Like I've went through the whole thing like back in like the 90s, like it, whatever came through, and basically if you're a black homie and you're not gonna represent when you hit them higher levels, to just go ahead and step off now. And some neighborhoods took it upon themselves to.
All right, we're gonna stop Larry there. Larry, thank you. Thank you for this amazing confession. Thank you for this profound revelation, and thank you for your transparency. For Larry to come out here or come on here, not on my platform, but just on YouTube and make this type of confession, that's next level. That is a rarity. It's not common. Peace, Bobby Ye, in the chat. Mr. T, shout out to you and your loved ones, Kim folks. Gifted Hand says, I'm effing with you. Yay, man, I appreciate you. I appreciate you. Everybody that's taking time out of their individual lives to come on here and mac in on me, man, is greatly appreciated. You know what I mean? We're going to get into some content, man. I want to get into some shit, man, that opens the mind. I want to give you thought-provoking content. Not just this shit. I want to talk about how Neuralink is now about to go into production, and they're about to start chipping individuals' brains. I want to talk about how they're using Bluetooth, how they have the capability to use Bluetooth to insert this device in individuals' bodies who are paraplegic and quadriplegics and whatnot, and they can utilize signals through Bluetooth to communicate with the damaged, destroyed, or the missing nerves. They can go to that part. So if there's no nerves here, right, and the nerves start here, but there's no nerves there, they can use something a chip that they implant in the brain that can send a Bluetooth signal to that part of the body, and it can allow a person to move, stand up, and so on and so forth. We need to start catching up with technology so we can better understand what's really going on. And this is the truth. You feel what I'm saying? But I didn't want to come on here, and I didn't want to spend too much time on here, but I want to give y'all, y'all time's worth. So we're gonna jump into some content. I could put up some that we can get into real quick. My partners, the Smoky Show, say run this motherfucker up and hit that button and share this motherfucker in the presence of a real brother. I appreciate that, homie. I totally appreciate that, man. My intentions is pure, man. And I said this to the brothers and the sisters before. I love y'all, cuz I'm Crip. I'm a Crip, but that don't mean I'm going to allow my Cripping to overshadow my blackness. I never been like that, cuz even in the California Youth Authority, where the Crips had they had a certain type of friction between the brothers from the Bay and the Blood Brothers. I never allowed my Cripping to put me in a position to where I'm blinded to who I am as a black man. I never allowed my Cripping to put me in a position to where these non-blacks is going to attack this brother from the Bay, or attack this Pyru, or attack this Blood, or attack this non-affiliate that's with the gangster shit. I'm not going to allow my Cripping to overshadow who I am as a black man and what my contribution to my people is. It's time to wake up, homie. The paradigms are shifting. The brother over there in Burkina Faso, brother what's his name? Ibrahim Traore. That brother is making some major steps towards building and creating an infrastructure for his country that can rival that of these Caucasian nations that go to Africa, mine gold, mine uranium, mine what is the other thing that they make, the palladium and all these other minerals, right? That go to Africa and they build their nations off the wealth of Africa. But when you go to Africa, it's the most poverty-stricken continent in the world. How is it that majority of the countries over there doesn't have at least a first world country? All those countries that's on the continent of Africa, and you have not one first world country, that's troubling. And majority of the minerals on earth come from over there. It's the most mineral rich place in the world. Why is Africa the most mineral rich place in the world? Tell me. Let's really get into some history now, because we all came out of Africa at some point in time within our span of existence, right? We all came from there. Akabulin is the land of all humanity, or the Garden of Eden, or the spawn of life. Abyssinia is the place with no ending. These are the things that they call Africa before they officially called that continent Africa. Akabulin, Kemet, what was another name? Abyssinia, so on and so forth, right? The reason why so many minerals over there is because fossils turn into what? When you bury this, ashes to ashes, dust to dust, from ashes to ashes to dust, when you bury this thing, this shell that we call a body, when it stays in the ground for a duration of time, the pressure in the ground begin to turn the body into what? Some form of a mineral. So all of our ancestors that passed away on that continent and their bodies was buried, as well as animal bodies and all that, you so on and so forth. But those are all bodies that's turning into minerals. If you don't believe me, do your research. But we're going to get into some content, man. Let me see what I can share with y'all, man. It's something that I wanted to come on here and share with y'all. You know, I know what I want to share with y'all, man. Let me go over here and log into my IG. I'll probably do this in a different segment, but hold on. Let's see what we got over here. They talk so much about Africa. Africa is the cradle and the start of all life. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. When they talk about the mitochondrial gene and they talk about the oldest fossil being found in Africa, that shows you that all life originated in Africa. Even if you read the Bible and you have the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and the discernment to decipher through what the Bible is telling you in code, when you hear the story about the Tower of Babel, which wasn't an actual tower, it was an actual spacecraft. And I know y'all gonna say, oh, this motherfucker crazy. Bobby Yaden lost it now. we already know that if you go so high into the atmosphere, the stratosphere, and all that, the air becomes thin to where you'll suffocate or you'll freeze to death. So we know they weren't actually building an actual tower to go into the heavens. It was a rocket ship. This isn't the first civilization that has certain technological advancements. No, don't believe that. What you think the pyramids are over there in Giza in Egypt? What you think that pyramid of Giza is? It was a nuclear reactor. These individuals had flashlights and all type of shit way back then. It's just that civilization at some point in time had destroyed themselves and they had to start back over from square one. Just like when they asked, what was his name, Albert Einstein, what type of weapons would they be using for World War III? He said, I don't know. Shit. But I can tell you what they'd be using for World War IV. And they say what? He said sticks and stones. There's always a reset button. And I feel like we are close. This civilization, this form of humanoids, we are close to a grand reset. But forgive me, man, that may not be the topic that's relatable to a lot of individuals. So, forgive me, man, we're going to take our time with it. But the Tower of Babel wasn't an actual tower. And what I was saying was this. Africa got over 2,000 different languages and dialects. When Yahweh or the God, whatever your God is, came down and seen what man was aspiring to do, create a rocket ship to go past the firmament, this individual named Yahweh, that a lot of people call God, right? And I feel like what we call God is a misinterpretation of what God actually is, but we'll get into that at a later time. When God came down here with the individuals, the entities that God came down here with and said, wait, hold on, what they doing? He said, man, look at what they're aspiring to do. He said, let's confuse their languages for anything they put their mind to, they'll be able to accomplish. So they changed all the languages. And then their languages confused and they began to babble. People that formerly was able to communicate and understand each other was now listening to a person babbling and speaking gibberish. It's different languages. So there's still remnants of what transpired in the Bible currently still there in Africa to today. But I digress. Let me see what I can share with y'all, man. Hey, look, check this shit out, man. I want y'all to check this shit out. Check this dude out from Gray Street. And this ain't no PJ Gray Street shit. This is just some crazy shit. Check this nigga out. Don't start this shit now, cuz.
You tried to. You call me baby and shit.
Oh, don't start this shit now, cuz.
I said she's cute. Why you say so? Do it like that. Where you from again? Man.
Oh, cuz, y'all ain't gonna be able to get it.
That's my girl. You know what I'm saying? Don't say nothing to her, man.
Hey, I'm gonna have to come back and share this at a later time, cuz. But cuz from Gray Street, his old lady go in the stove. A dude in the stove thinks she's attractive, so he try to shoot a shot. Not in the presence of cuz from Gray Street, and this ain't a shot at the Gray Streets. It just so happened that this dude just so happened to be from Gray Street. A dude shoot his shot, she denies him. She goes and tell her dude, oh, this dude tried to get at me, blase, blase. He takes it upon himself to go and confront the dude that don't know him. It'd be different if he tried to do it in your presence while you're right there, while you're physically right there, or if he knew you and he tried to do it like that, get down like that behind your back. Cuz from Gray Street going to stove, he highlighted like, man, why would you do some shit like that? The video funny as a motherfucker, okay? But listen, man, I'm about to bring this to a close, man. I appreciate y'all macking in on your player partner, man. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the love. Hopefully we can get a response about Neil Tazard accuses Surenos of being jealous of black Southsiders and dirty politicking. Is this true? I would like somebody from the Latino community to come and tell us whether or not it has any legitimacy to it, or is Neil to Zod just talking out the side of his ass like we know that he has a reputation for doing. But y'all step and be blessed, man. It's your player partner, man. Let's live in peace before we have to rest in it. Too black, too strong. God bless y'all. All power to all people, man. And I'm gone.